After a long and often arduous summer, the Kangaroos and Carlton have relished a return to the field of battle. The NAB Cup's opening 2 rounds providing a window of hope that the winter may not be as gloomy as many had forecast.
From outside 50, bangs away, super goal.
But into a hot spot. Oh, fantastic match.
Outside, loads up, it's perfect.
Young stars are on parade.
He can play this kid.
Kicks a goal for the Blues.
And now a grand final berth is at stake.
To the semi-final of the NAB Cup. The Kangaroos have been sensational this afternoon.
From Gold Coast Stadium at Carrara, it's the Kangaroos versus Carlton in a NAB Cup semi-final. Live and exclusive on Fox Sports AFL.
It was a thriller.
Well, this week the Bulldozers raised the old grandstand at their Arden Street address. Now the Kangaroos embark on a NAB Cup semi-final at their new home away from home on the Gold Coast. And like the Kangaroos, Carlton have close to their best team on the field this evening. This semi-final really featuring 2 teams for who the pre-season has taken on some significance. From Gold Coast Stadium at Carrara, welcome along to Fox Sports AFL and our coverage of the semi-final to see who will take on the Brisbane Lions in the grand final next week. Good to have you with us, Connor Gribus, alongside of Jared Healy. Good to see you again. 2 intense teams for a pre-season game tonight. That's what we can expect, can't we?
Yeah, both in form, both with full squads in Clinton. I think they're up here, they're having a crack. The Kangaroos with nothing to lose, and obviously either Carlton. And plenty of good news for both clubs since Dick Pratt took over Carlton. It really has turned it around. I mean, the pall that's been hovering over this club is gone. There's positives, and I think we can finally see a floor underneath the Blues. They're on the way up. And the Kangaroos, similarly, I think that they played boring, uninspiring footy last year. This year they've recruited. They were a one-trick pony last year with Nathan Thompson, but they've got some kids in. Lindsay Thomas has set them alight up there. He's kicked 4 goals in the first week, a couple last week. They're looking good. Corey Jones is a late withdrawal from this Kangaroo team. Was some concern about his hip, so he hasn't come up. Add in the names Rawlings, Hale and Harding. They're the 4 absentees for the Kangaroos. Aside from that, this is a pretty much full-strength Kangaroo team. It is, and they've been playing pretty good football. To beat Fremantle after, I think everybody's acknowledged they are a genuine premiership threat. To win last week, I think, establishes them as one of the early season flyers. Wells, Grant, Campbell, Thomas have all been very good at winning the footy up in the forward half of the ground, and added to that Nathan Thompson, I think they are capable of kicking a winning score. Let's hear from their coach, Dean Laidley. He spoke earlier with Liam Pickering.
Well, Dean, semi-final, NAB Cup, Carlton versus the Kangaroos. Not too many experts would have predicted that at the start of the carnival.
Oh, look, we've been playing some good footy, and so has the Blues. So, look, it's another hit out for us for round 1, and look, that's the most important thing. Again, to practice what we've been practicing over the pre-season. So, looking forward to the hit out.
And what about the team? They're playing with a little bit more freedom, a little bit more passion, a bit more spirit. Is that a plan? Is that going to be something they're going to try and carry on throughout the course of the season?
Look, I think the greatest thing that what I've seen from the side in the first 2 games is actually playing for each other and playing as a team. And I've been pretty strong over that on the pre-season. There were times last year where we didn't do that. Now our physical preparation has been very good, and we're able to do a lot more things that we would have liked that we did last year.
What about the role of Michael Ferretto tonight? Had a big job last week on Matthew Pavlich. Is there a chance we may see him on someone like Brendan Favola this afternoon?
Yeah, look, you're a good judge. Pickers, he'll play on him.
Good luck, Dean.
No worries, thanks.
The new Dean Laidley, honesty is the best policy. Let's have a look at a couple of the young up-and-coming Kangaroos. Lachlan Hansen kicked a couple of goals last week as the Kangaroos held off a fast-finishing Fremantle to win by 9 points at the Telstra Dome. Matt Campbell was one of the stars, still on the rookie list, likely to come up for the injured Lee Harding. He kicked 3 goals last week. And Daniel Wells, it's his 5th season of AFL football, Jared, rising star of 2003. Big year coming up for Daniel Wells. It is. I think we're all waiting for him to jump up to All-Australian level. He was a high finisher in their best and fairest, but there's still another gear for Daniel, but his best is electrifying. There's a late change for the Carlton team as well. Josh Kennedy will not be taking part. Now, the significant thing about this Carlton team, 8 of the 24 in action tonight, aged 20 or younger. Take out Kennedy, take out perhaps Teague, Bannister and Wiggins by way of senior players not playing. This is as close to as the best team Carlton will get on the field all season.
And if they can keep that together, they are going to trouble some teams. They're trying to build a back line with O'Halpin to add to help Thornton of last year. And I think Jared Waite down there also makes them look better.
Well, Liam Pickering asked Dennis Pagan about those young Blues.
Our young guys have been pretty good, you know, people like Waite, Thornton, you know, really starting to grow now. Bentic, Carrazzo, Walker, you know, Eddie Betts, Fisher, Simpson, these sorts of kids. And they're growing all the time, and every time they get a game under their belt, they know we're going to get better.
And Jared Waite, across half-back's been terrific.
Yeah, he's given us a bit of rebound, Liam, and we hope he can continue that tonight. And, you know, he can play forward as well, and, you know, he makes such a valuable player for us.
Good luck, Dennis.
Thanks, Liam. Good on you, mate.
Dennis Pagan with Liam Pickering. Well, the AFL is marking the passing of Commission Chairman Ron Evans this weekend. And with more, we go down to the field and Craig Willis.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday AFL Chairman Ron Evans passed away. Would you please turn to the screen here, Carrara, as we remember Ron. Officials to observe a minute's silence as a mark of respect for Ron Evans. Thank you indeed, ladies and gentlemen.
As it was last night, a well-observed minute's silence for one of the true gentlemen of football. Let's go down to the field from the broadcast booth. It looks all fine above. To tell us more, Liam Pickering and Alistair Lynch. Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening, Clinton. It is, well, conditions right at this very minute are beautiful. A little bit blustery, but the ground is in fantastic condition. The reason I say right at the minute is there is a dirty big black cloud, Alistair Lynch, that's hanging above the grandstand here that may bring a bit of rain.
It looks like the black cloud's coming over the hinterland, and usually it comes onto the Gold Coast, so we may expect a shower in the second half. But it's going to be an exciting game. There's enormous amount to like about these two clubs. The Carlton Football Club really stiffened up their midfield with Walker going in with the talent of Murphy and Bryce Gibbs. But you look at the speed of the North Melbourne team, and that's probably enough just to get them over the line tonight. So I'm going to back the Kangas by about 6 points in a tight one.
Well, I also think it'll be a close game, but I'm just going to go for the Blues tonight. I reckon by about 8 points, Clinton.
All right, gents, look forward to your comments throughout the course of the evening as Adam Simpson wins the coin toss for the Roos, heading to the right of screen. Real exciting time for these two clubs, Jared. On the eve of the season, we know that about their early start, the Kangaroos starting earlier than any team just about ever before in football after a very disappointing campaign, and through the opening 2 weeks of the NAB Cup, they've delivered.
Well, they started, I think, even earlier than that, just planning. I think that Dean Laidley accepted that they may have got it wrong last year, and he went out and researched, spoke to a lot of people and asked them where they thought football was going. And on the back of that, they took on a major endurance campaign. They recruited for their deficiencies, as we said at the opener. They were pretty much a one-trick pony last year. If Nathan Thompson didn't get it, they didn't win games of footy, and so they have got recruited some players to win the ball at ground level. They were 16th for conversion off the ground in the forward 50 last year, and already they've picked up the likes of Lindsay Thomas and Matthew Campbell, who have been good goal kickers. At the other end of the ground, Carlton have got a forward line. They've stiffened it up a little bit, but they will rely on Brendan Favola. But it's been down back that they've really tried to work on. And Jared Waite, if he can play a full season down there, the opportunities for Brendan Favola are going to probably increase on last year. So the Blues are capable of kicking a winning score if their midfield can just maintain its attack into the forward 50 and provide plenty of space for Brendan to lead into.
And true to his word from his pre-game remarks, Dean Laidley, Michael Ferrito, after the job on Matthew Pavlich last week alongside of Brendan Favola this evening. Crowd, fair to say, slow to build up as off we go from the Gold Coast. The second semi-final of the NAB Cup. The Roos to the right with McIntosh, the ruckman, Ackland starting the ruck for the Blues, heading to the left, and there is some friendly fire early as the swallow kick goes straight into the side of the head of Daniel Wells. He is down, and the Kangaroos come up with possession through centre half back as still Daniel Wells very ginger. He is up behind players. McIntosh feeds to Sinclair. Long towards centre half forward, and that's a late free kick given away by Brown. Not what you want to get in the opening passage of play, is it?
Especially not on a night where it's starting to get a little bit cool out there, so the laces across the nose wouldn't be too good for Wellesley. So he's still scratching the head there, but it certainly will spark him up for a big game, I'm sure.
Lindsay Thomas, number 12, handing it back to the umpire as Swallows kick. Ouch. It's Daniel Wells. Here's Swallow again, being brought down, holding the ball. Our umpires are Michael Vozzo, Matt Stevick, Stephen Grunn, and Ray Chamberlain. Andrew Carazzo with the free kick. Had 18 touches last week.
Kangaroos need Boomer Harvey to have a big first half. He got plenty of touches in defence last week, but they need for him to win the footy forward of the middle of the ground, because that's where he's a really attacking player, Lynchy.
Yeah, one out here in the forward line to Favola.
Was there some holding? Umpire went close to blowing the whistle. Ray Chamberlain. Whitnell getting close. It's over for a boundary throw in.
And that is a big job. You get Fev in the forward 50, isolated with his opponent, and a bit of wrestling. The umpires decided to let it go in the early stages of this game.
Again, they isolate the pair in the goal square. Everyone else here at the boundary throw in 35 metres away. Scotland near the boundary line. Does well. Broke a couple of tackles. Close to the line. Carazzo is there. Tried to keep it alive. He could not. Boundary throw in.
And great conditions. Actually, the surface here is magnificent, as it always has been on the Gold Coast. From the days in the late 80s, Gerald, when you used to visit here, it's probably not as wide as it was. They've brought that far grandstand in a considerable distance.
Yeah, I think that's probably rugby league inspired, but the ground's impressive. It really is a good place to watch footy from.
I like the reminiscing. Jared, yourself and Liam in the car on the way in, talking about where the portables were that you used to train in, and well, Liam telling us about he got changed on the bus one day.
The best thing about the portables were that you could hear Robert Walls' speeches.
A frightening concept as Wells kicks to midfield over the head of the leading Moran. This is Andrew Walker getting back there, and now Jared Waite. Really looking forward to seeing him in action this season. Good kick, Kane Ackland.
This is where he plays his best footy. When he goes forward out of the ruck, he's got a moment and he's got to get those legs working pretty hard. They've got plenty of time to interchange on the bench. That obviously has to hit the chest of Big Red.
And he was disappointed there. He just got back two steps off the mark. You've got to get your momentum forward to be able to hit targets over 40 metres.
Petrie alongside of Whitnell from the boundary throw, and Ackland did well, got rid of McIntosh. McIntosh ends up with the footy, however. Now Wells looking for Sinclair, a little bit dangerous. Here's Gibbs coming through. Touch of class. Oh, look at him go. Can he get the finish? Not quite. Build-up was good.
May well have been the best passage of play he's produced for the Blues. Yeah. He'll get a lot better than that. The next one will go through, but he read that well. I think he's just been held back over the last couple of weeks.
And fair enough.
With that thumb injury, oh, absolutely. I mean, they are very, very significant injuries, dislocated thumbs, and they can dog you for years.
And not only that, you've got to remember, he was the youngest taken in the draft this year. He's only a 17-year-old kid.
Right, turns 18 on Thursday this week.
A lot of pressure on him.
Here's Harvey on half-back for the Kangaroos. Winner to play Brisbane next week. If the Kangaroos win, They are guaranteed to host the final. Carlton would have to kick more than 11 goals to win, and they would have the final in Melbourne. Otherwise, it would be in Brisbane, as there's some holding, and Lindsay Thomas has the free. And this young man was exciting last week with a couple of goals, delivering to Thompson on the lead.
Well read by Jared White. He could have almost jumped in front and intercepted, but he elected to back his teammate.
Here's Gibbs. Oh, look at that.
Nice.
He's showing it. He's going to have all the time in the world as Eddie Betts. Now he was looking to give the handball off to the running Stevens.
Still free, Stevens.
And he's made good space, and Betts finds him. It was good running by Nick Stevens.
Yeah, he was frustrated when he ran past Betts to start with, who was well held up on the mark, and he powered ahead. Thankfully, his forwards knew that he was by himself and ran away from him. So often you see teammates run towards you and bring contests, and it was smart play.
Stevens with 29 touches in Launceston last week as the Blues beat the Hawks by 7 points in a thriller. His opening kick here is disappointing. It squeezes through for a behind Carlton second. These two clubs will meet here in round 8 of the season proper, one of Carlton's 6 interstate trips this winter. The Kangaroos will be making 8 trips interstate, including 3 here as part of their 3-year deal.
What is unbelievably obvious, Alistair, is this ground is very congested already. This is a different brand of footy right now.
It's a different brand of footy at a different stadium than it was a number of years ago.
Good pick up by Hartlett, the young blue. The kick touched, you heard the call. Gibson with courage takes it and plays on. Swallow for Sinclair in the middle. Might open up for the Roos here. Elects to go by hand. Will it come unstuck? No. Good running by the Kangaroos, and still Sinclair goes beyond the 50. Grubbers it to fall forward. Moran running into Thomas. Thomas on the second effort. Jeez. What a snap by the young man. Great start. Roos get the opening goal.
And great effort, as we've seen. Great effort, as we've seen over the time. The power running of the forwards at the Kangaroos this year in the pre-season been outstanding. Good work from Moran to get on the hands and knees, make a bit of a contest, and get the ball out to his more talented guy with the foot skills.
Well, they made a blue there, the Blues. 2 blokes going for 1 man, left Lindsay Thomas on his feet, and he mopped up with 1 goal.
Out of the Mallee Park Club, a very good football nursery at Port Lincoln. Lindsay Thomas getting off to a good start as Murphy's handball taken by Swallow, who's caught high.
Back Eddie! Eddie out! One! Thanks Eddie, come mate.
Swallow high up towards Moran. In the back. Moran the free against Thornton.
That was the new rule just ruled on there. It was the Thorntons had the hands in the back of Moran and dropped back. There was a little shove, but certainly, well, obviously ruled much stricter this year than last year.
The defenders will not be happy. Here's Moran. Born in England, arrived here on the Gold Coast, and the kick letting him down.
Yeah, I think that on that occasion, Brett Thornton has just got to get used to using forearms rather than using hands, using the side of the body rather than the front.
And most definitely, it's something that the players need to be working on. I mean, a lot of players aren't happy with it, and I must admit, from a commentary point of view, I'm not. But you've got to accept it and learn to cope with the rule.
Waite and Brown exchanging pleasantries early. Roos deep in attack. Stevens caught. Swallow, good tackle. Holds the ball in. We'll get a bounce as we check in with Liam Pickering.
Yeah, I think the big matchup this afternoon or this evening will be Jared Waite picking up Lee Brown. Lee Brown obviously fantastic last week, but I think you'll find Waite will be prepared to run him up the ground and really try and test the endurance of Lee Brown.
Murphy to Fisher. Marks well on half back. Hartlett presenting in the middle will be on the end of this kick. Shepherding was Russell. Hartlett long in the Whitnall direction. Petrie from the side. Lance does well, just deflecting it down to Bentic in the number 7 this year. Kicks to the centre corridor for Gibbs.
Push out.
And he pushed out Riggio. There were a lot of whistles last night at the Telstra Dome. In what was a close contest, the Brisbane Lions advancing to the grand final. They've never won the pre-season competition. Thomas going down towards half forward. Thornton has paid the mark.
And you can notice already the Kangaroos are backing themselves, trying to carry the ball, and they'll run themselves into trouble at times. But obviously the instructions from the coach is put it under your wing and just run and back yourself and make people up in front react to your movement.
No helping. That will be, well, forwards and 20 metres. Walker paid the mark. Now Hartlett. Hartlett yet to play a senior game for Carlton. Drafted in 2004. Had a bad hamstring injury early last year, which hindered his progress. One of these young Blues, still just 20 years of age. Bombing to centre half forward. Kangaroos with weight of numbers winning out. And it's a throw against Ferrito.
Well, they got Ferrito's man Favola loose if he gets it in quick.
And Waite will do just that. Favola is the target. Whitnell going back. Fev with the lead. And has he won a free? Yes, he has.
Well, he made sure the umpire saw it. And I think that's the message coming from the Kangaroos. Let's just have another look. A little clip there across the top of the head. And he's bobbed up with a free kick.
He's one of the finest kicks for goal in the game. You'd back him absolute certainty from outside 50. Here, the only trouble he can get into is when he tries to steer the ball through, but such a fluent long kick. You'd like to have your money on him.
A lot of talk with the umpires in the background as Favola's kick is horribly across the face.
He had no chance of kicking that. Alistair Link with the biggest moles on him.
No, well, I think
you've been good in the pre-season. You have nailed everyone.
Well, have a look at that one. He's taken about 3 steps and tried to steer it through. And he's a beautiful kick for goal. He needs to go back and kick it into the grandstand, and he just tried to steer it through. That's his downfall.
Ferrito. Oh, long kick back into play. Curious option. Simpson there for the Blues. Stevens waiting underneath it. And it will be a free kick going the way of, or some confusion.
Yes, it's Pratty's kick.
Kangaroos way.
Thank you.
Pratt.
No 20.
After getting up close with Jeff Farmer last week. Which with Sinclair and Petrie and into heavy traffic, and Eddie Betts is electrifying Favola from the boundary line. And it will bounce, and Watts electing to keep it in the field of play. Harvey with an airing. What happened there? Stevens caught. Fisher on the left. He tumbles one to the goal square, and Gibson takes the mark.
Umpire said there that Stevens ducked. I thought that was a bit stiff. He slipped for mine, but he was certainly taken high. But the Blues have had it down there too often. They just haven't been taking their opportunities.
Similar tale last night. Geelong with the dominance by way of entries inside 50, and the Lions getting the win as Brown with the hand pass for Thomas, who goes long to full forward. Thompson charging out, can't mark, will get a boundary throw in.
Once again, we saw Jared Waite just zoning off his player and pushing into the space of Nathan Thompson. I wouldn't be surprised if they try and use Thompson as a bit of a dummy, open up the square and get guys, if they can get a chain of handballs through the middle, to start pinging for 9-pointers.
Roos deep in attack. That's Cloak. Cameron down for Bentic. Ducks the head. Caught. Got it to Walker. He tries to defer to Thornton. Back for Walker. Quick hands. Good hands. Houlihan away. To midfield for Betts. Carlton running. Lappin, who started on the bench, spears it to Favola.
Great check, great mark. Here's 9 points.
Backing in here.
Thank you. Super goal by Fez. And the Blues deserve that for their weight of possession for the last 5 minutes as they take a 1-goal lead.
And he's kicked that very easily from outside 50. Great build-up out of the back line. The ability from Lappin to hit his target more often than not. And Fev, you see, just steadies up and just hammers it from outside 50. Great option and great conversion. And Carlton are back in it after having most of the ball inside their 50.
Imagine the value of Favola if there were 9-pointers in the regular season. His price would go up 100-fold.
And Jared, you want the 9-pointer in for the season proper.
I like the 9-pointer.
Do you think you're out on your own little island on that one?
Absolutely. There's me and Brendan Favola, because if it was in, Brendan Favola would be $1 million footballer.
Here's Stevens. Carlton starting impressively. Cloak working it on. Couple of loose men in midfield. Cooter for Hartlett. Well, in the end, Thomas nearly prized it clear from Scotland, but not quite. He goes to Lappin. Betts, where a good crummer should be. Favola tripped up on the 50-metre line. Burrito right there.
Yeah, he should have knocked that out. Favola is only in his own head thinking about his own possession. He should have just tapped it in front for Matty Lappin, and that's an area he can improve on.
Encouraging signs. Eddie Betts just hitting the front of the pack there. Lappin jumped early, and actually it was a good jump for the ball, unlucky not to take the mark, but that's where you need the small players like Betts. Hit the front, pick up the crumbs and give you an opportunity to kick on goal.
12-6 the Blues way with Nick Stevens roving, punching the hand pass to midfield. Simpson.
Geez, they're doing this well. They are pushing straight up the corridor. Any opportunity, they won't go wide, the Blues. They're going straight down the middle.
And that was a free kick, so the advantage could be paid to Simpson. Had the mark been paid, it would have had to have come back, but Simpson, an errant kick following the advantage, will affect the boundary throw-in.
Some very good work in the forward 50 for Carlton. The likes of Whitnell and Lappin and Betts are running, covering a lot of space, leaving it open for Favola.
Blues in attack again. Sainsbury was so impressive last week for the Roos in their 9-point win against the Dockers. Cameron Cloak, good mark. Now Scotland driving it to full forward. Fisher in front, good spoil. Here's Eddie Betts again. Gibbs diving in for the Blues as well. Gets up, and the free kick is coming back to Carlton.
What's been interesting, Alistair, is that we're seeing a lot of longer kicks going into the forward line, particularly with the sides with power forwards, but it seems to have brought back the crummer.
And I think that's would be the instruction to Eddie Betts. We do not want you to be on the end of the ball for marks. We want you to just purely crumb at the front of the pack.
Wow.
Glenn Archer will be happy with that one.
Yes. We'll mark that one down in the file. Bryce Gibbs is going to play for next decade or so. He won't do too many like that. Archer tonight, as he delivers there, his 36th pre-season game, joins Wayne Carey, number 2 all-time for most pre-season games. John Blakey played 45. Thompson to Harris with a high ball. Target is Lee Brown climbing high. Waiting down, caught by Hanson, got it to Bentic. Now Scotland. Carlton running it really well here through the centre corridor. Options present for Scotland.
Once again looked inside.
Koutafidis is there, chips it towards Lappin, can't run onto it. Brad Moran is back there.
This is like playing on a skinny SCG. It isn't long, it's squat, and it is skinny.
Here's Simpson, captain for his 4th year.
Geez, that was well done.
Campbell with the sleek touch. Now Simpson again. Can he break the weight tackle? He does. Onto the left. Wobbly kick. Cloak got an awkward bounce. Harvey throws him out of the way, but the Blues are there. Koutafidis with O'Halpin. Backs himself, the young Irishman, to have a bounce. Does all right too. Houlihan now. Spirits it towards half forward. Burrito with the spoil. No, Favola, too good.
1 metre! 1 metre!
Kanga's got a lot of players back, so Fev needs to find a short target.
And he will. Houlihan kept running. Presented nicely. Loops it over the top. It's Lappin inside the 50. Close to the boundary line. Centres it. Good team thing. Fisher flatten. Eddie Betts crumbing. Crowd lifting. Eddie having a lob. Snap it goal. Across the face for a behind.
A bit of a luxury to have Matthew Lappin coming off the bench. They waited for the first 10 minutes to elapse, and then on he comes. He's one of the smartest creators in the game at the moment.
Let's check in with Liam Pickering as Sainsbury brings it back in.
It is pretty steamy down here, boys, and both sides prepared to really rotate, trying to keep their players nice and fresh for the full game.
Just having a look, Liam, up forward for the Kangaroos. They're pretty tall, which is essentially playing into the hands of Carlton because they've got some pretty tall defenders this year.
And look, not only that, Jared, they've also, that's where they're creating all their run at the moment from half back. Thornton and these sort of players, Wade, are really prepared to push through the lines at the moment. It's really troubling the Kangaroos forwards who have got to chase.
Harris to the wing.
Geez, I like the look at Cameron Cloak this year.
Hasn't he embraced this?
He's dropped down 2 sizes in shorts, I think. He's obviously done a lot of work, which he had to do. His career's on the line, but he looks good.
On here, Carlton, numbers everywhere forward.
They affect the switch. Houlihan going for Walker. He can go to the outer wing, and now they can look to run. Simpson, so impressive last year. Spears it towards Fisher. Couldn't hang on to the mark. Defers quickly to Bentic. Good hands. Bentic with a long kick to the top of the square. Stevens waiting down. What of the Kangaroos? Does okay. And now they can look to go. Will it stay for Harris? Not quite. Boundary throw in.
And Jared, you've probably seen more of O'Halpin than I have, but I think along with Waite, they could be a couple of the finds of the season for Carlton. Big players to take up that position, both very good athletes. These days you can play behind as a defender and use your pace to get past the forward.
I think the biggest winner is going to be Brett Thornton.
Yeah.
He's a player that could be an All-Australian player in his position, but he's always been asked to play 2 sizes too big.
Scotland pops it up, hoping for Favola and a pack mark.
Or a crumb.
Not forthcoming there. Stevens at the back of the pack. Sainsbury with the clearance. Moran heading out wide. Will have to defer to Simpson. He goes for Murphy. Riggio with the spoil. A boundary throw in. Liam.
Lee Brown off the ground, boys. I think he played the whole game last week. Jared Waite already causing some trouble at half back for Carlton.
Kicked 3 goals against the Dockers. Dennis Pagan and company, including Tony Liberatore and Craig Bradley and Brett Ratton and Gavin Krasiska. Some names there alongside of the coach. Simpson goes to Harvey. Crossing midfield, but it's Cloak again. Boot to ball quickly over the head of Murphy. Here's the Kangaroos and Moran looking to set something up. Watt taking off. And now crossing midfield. Big loping run of Petrie. The Vin Catoggio lookalike is Paul Bauer.
Good tackle.
Jackson caught, holding the ball. Advantage, play on. Grant goes deep. Thompson is pushed out of it. And Brett Thornton gives away a second, and he's still not happy.
Well, he's been doing it for over 2 centuries, has Glenn Archer. A fair bit last year, century, and a fair bit this century.
There you go. That's the new rule.
That was fair, but it all started because of the tackle on Glenn Archer. I mean, that was inspirational stuff.
And it has been, as you said, for a long time. Would you believe that he's played that much footy, and this is his first visit to Carrara? His first game at Carrara, and he hasn't changed the way he plays from the very start.
Nathan Thompson, runner-up in the best and fairest last year. 54-goal season for the Kangaroos, looking to trim the deficit to just a point. And the kick lets him down.
That Brett Thornton situation there, because he has been undersized, Jared, for a number of years playing on 105-kilo forwards, he's had to use his hands to push his player under the ball. That's something that Leo Barry's probably had to do as well. Gaspar, the lighter defenders have needed to use their hands to shift their opponents. Well,
we've seen 2 penalties already tonight against Brett, so he's going to really have to do some work on it.
Here's the former hurling star for County Cork, Satanta O'Halpin.
I reckon his coach would have been hurling just then. A kick, the handball, probably not the right option, but
to be sure,
on the improve. Great mark.
Yep, that's Daniel Pratt. And he bombs it deep. He's given Thompson a chance. Will he get there? Look at Archer going back with a flight of it. And Thornton wins a free kick. And Glenn, I don't think you can dispute that one.
He lost that in the lights, I think.
It's a brave umpire to pay it against him, knowing the reaction is going to be like that. And it's just a pre-season game. Koutafidis to Bentic. Fumbles at a centre-half back. Has support.
Katoj.
He is too.
Bauer. Inside the 50. Favola has gone down theatrically. Oh. Ray Chamberlain, who is a school teacher,
well, he's not
with a lecture for Brendan.
Not happy with the dive from Big Fev.
Here's Josh Gibson.
Oh, great chase.
Fisher providing that chase. Riggio brought down.
See, they pumped the Blues. They really, if the Kangaroos are to stay competitive, they're going to have to lift their intensity because the Blues are significantly ahead of them at the moment.
There's the free kick. Archer going to Thornton. Final minute of the opening term. There's been just 1 super goal and 1 regular goal. As Houlihan runs onto it, Cloak has had plenty of it. 6 possessions now. Blues dominating the numbers, 100 touches to 66. Murphy going to half forward. Oh, what a mark by Gibson. Terrific grab. Feeds Sainsbury. Now, can the Roos get a late one? This is David Trotter going quickly for Sinclair. 25 seconds. What is deceptively quick for a big man? Oh, and good vision too. Great pass. And Shannon Grant, virtually on the siren, can level this score up.
That was a good effort. I mean, the fact that the Kangaroos were aware to switch the sides, and often the work rate for the forwards is often above the defenders, were able to find space and just had the free numbers. And you got Shannon Grant, who has worked very hard in the 450, having a shot on goal.
Well, we're not sure whose man Shannon Grant actually is, but Cameron Cloak looked around. and said it wasn't me, and he was very frustrated.
This will be a good result for the Roos if he can kick truly. They'd be happy with the scores level after the Blues have dominated possession, but he misses. So it's just a behind for Shannon Grant. Quarter time at Gold Coast Stadium. Carlton 13, leading the Kangaroos 8.
And I think one of the biggest positives for mine was this man here, Cameron Cloke. I thought he was in trouble when he left the Pies, but just have a look at him. He's a massive man, but you can see he's hardened up. He's done a lot of kilometres, I would think, Lynchy, over the summer period, and you can just see the way he's making decisions and the way he's covering the ground, that he could be one of the big blokes that Carlton need in the ruck.
Certainly can. They've got a little bit of support, but it's probably undersized. There's going to be plenty of opportunity for Cameron Cloke and lead in a very good young side.
Quarter time at Gold Coast Stadium. A super goal to Feb, giving the Blues a 5-point lead.